16 years old. When I came to high school, I just knew that I wanted to do something. So often, so many people like around this age just try to find who they are and like to try new things. So why not try out Jesus and like find out what the true reality of who Jesus is and what the church really is about. We just heard of Alpha and we just like decided why not take the opportunity. It's a video series, made specifically for us and to make it simpler for us. So why not take the opportunity and bring it to our schools? And then we just like started promoting it, sharing it word by mouth, putting posters up. And then at first it wasn't even that much people, it was like 15 people. But as it went, people started to talk about it with their friends. People started to become more comfortable to bring their friends because it's a really cool atmosphere. And then it rose up to 55 people by the end.
Just in general, it was just really nice to walk in and just everyone is smiling and there's food and just you just know that you're gonna have a good time and a good discussion. There's a lot of questions that you don't really consider before, and then you walk out and you're like, oh, that was a new perspective on something I never thought of.
I expected it to be more of a church session, but it was a little bit more relaxed and more fun, and you get to be around more peers that are just casually talking for the beginning part, and it slowly got into it, and then it got really deep.
I think it's just really easy. You basically there's no right or wrong answer to the questions, so you basically just have to say what's in your heart and what your beliefs are, and no one's really going to judge you about that.
Alpha helped in so many ways. It was just the whole point that it was so simple. They weren't shoving anything down their throats. It was legit just a discussion, and it allowed them to have space to just be who they are and actually ask questions, whether they were Christian or not. It opened up a good environment of people just to create a really good discussion.
I feel just sitting there and answering questions around friends isn't that hard to do. Yeah, you have to go some deep sometimes, but you're not really working really hard in the sessions. You're not doing homework, you're not doing something very difficult you wouldn't know how to answer. All you do have to do is answer from your heart.
When you're just in the room, you see just everyone's really opening up and tearing their masks off and showing who they are, and they're genuinely really happy and interested in the whole thing. It's more light into the school. You could see Jesus more in the halls than we did before. And I really truly believe till this day everyone got a glimpse of Jesus in a personal way through Alpha. So it's been really cool.
tearing through, tearing through the veil of darkness, breaking every chain you set us free, fighting for the furthest part. You gave your life for all to see, tearing through the veil of darkness, breaking every chain you set us free, fighting for the furthest part. You gave your life for all to see, tearing through the veil of darkness, breaking every chain you set us free, fighting for the furthest part. You gave your life. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. One time. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Your love is relentless. Yes. I've searched the world. I've searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. A man's empty grace treasures the faith never enough. You came along, put me back together. Every desire is now satisfied here in your love. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Show you my weakness. Failures and faults, Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain is the God of the valley. There's not a place where mercy and grace will find me again. Oh, there's nothing. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. One more time. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing better than you, Lord. better than you, Lord, there's nothing. Better than you, Lord, there's nothing. Better than you. One more time. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing. One more time. Oh, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing better than you, Lord, there's nothing. Nothing is better than you. How many of you guys have ever been on a hike? Well, I had the opportunity a couple years ago to go on a 4-day hike on the Fundy Footpath. And if you're not familiar with the Fundy Footpath, the Fundy Footpath is a super, super beautiful place in the world. It's located in Fundy and kind of in the St. John area. It takes about 4 days to get through it. And I had the opportunity to go with 2 other people. One was a guide. His name was Dave Hagel. And one of my friends, Patrick Black. We had the opportunity to go together, and it was super fun. For the first 2 days, we had, our packs on, we had our water bottle, all our extra clothes, the tent that we needed to sleep in, a sleeping bag, fire, not literally fire in our packs, but ways to start a fire. And we had everything we needed. We had the essentials. And 2 days in, we're going, we're having fun, having jokes. It's a really good time. But then all of a sudden, it starts raining. Day 2, we are literally dumped on by so much rain. And what happened was, I didn't end up getting sick, but the 2 people that were with me, Patrick and Dave, both got sick. And Dave is our guide, and so he's the one kind of showing us where to go. And we had never been on the path before, so we were totally lost if he had gone. So what we ended up having to do is into day 3, the start of day 3, we had someone come in and take us out of the path. And for me, it was one of those things where I was like, oh my goodness, I wanted to finish. I wanted to get done this Fundy Footpath and have that sense of accomplishment that happens when you finish something like that, right? But I want you to ask a question to yourself. We're all in this journey of life, and we've all got different things that we need, the essentials, whether it be, we've got school, we've got our parents, we've got books around us to be able to help us, we've got relationships that are really key in helping us to grow. But the reality is that every single one of those things, we do need people, we need relationships to go this journey of life. And I think sometimes we can ask ourselves questions and never really process them with anyone. We can never really go to someone and say, hey, like, I've been thinking about this. I'm actually really struggling with this thought, and ask them that question. And I want to encourage you, we're starting Alpha in the next week, and we're actually starting the video next week. And it's going to talk about different things related to what it means to have a relationship with God. And this is open to anyone. It's not, you don't have to be a Christian. You don't have to be a follower of Jesus. We are just going to talk about what it means to follow God. And we're not perfect. We are people that do not have it all together. And that's one of the most beautiful things about walking with Jesus. And my experience has been that I don't have to be perfect. I don't have to be all that in a bag of chips. There's a story in the Bible. Jesus is the most loving person in the entire world. And we see this story happen where Jesus meets with a religious leader of the time, a priest named Nicodemus. And Nicodemus, he was a priest, and so he understood what the Torah was. And so for those of you, again, we talked about it last week, but the Torah was and is the first 5 books of the Bible. And that would be Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. And it was the law of the Lord up to that point, the way they would have understood it. And so the priests would have been following what they knew to be true about God up to that point. And so they had a really deep knowledge of those 5 books and had a knowledge of maybe what was to come, about the Messiah coming, about this person that was going to change everything and bring kind of the kingdom of God into existence in the world.
And Nicodemus, he saw Jesus teach, he saw the authority that happened with him, and he saw the people's lives that were transformed as a result of just who Jesus was. And Nicodemus took that and said, hey, there's something different about this person I don't totally understand, but I'm not really willing to own the fact that I know this person out loud. So what we see is him go and visit Jesus in secret. And we see this whole interaction happen, and Nicodemus is just firing questions at Jesus, and Jesus is answering them. And they have this kind of coffee table conversation where they're just talking about what it means to live in the kingdom of God. And I don't know if you've ever asked yourself this question, but you've definitely seen it before if you've lived any sort of life. But how many of you guys know there's a difference between experience and head knowledge? The big difference between those two things is that you can know a lot about something and you can understand something. You can know a lot about cooking. You can know a lot about running. You can know a lot about hockey. But that doesn't mean anything if you haven't actually done it, if you haven't actually experienced it. And the reality is that Nicodemus is a person that knew the law of the Lord, that knew those things, that knew the Torah, and knows all the things, the right things to say, but he doesn't really know God, at least up to this point. And so Nicodemus is seeing Jesus, and the way that he's interacting with people is just so real and authentic and raw, and people are being transformed, not by just the law, it's true transformation of the heart. Like, people are wanting to do this stuff. And Nicodemus sees this and says, wow, I want what you have. And it's crazy because we can so often live in that space, whether it be hockey, whether it be cooking, whether it be whatever. The example is true that we can live our lives getting to know things without actually getting to know the person, right? Like, we can actually live our lives learning about Christianity, or we can live our lives learning about the Bible or learning even about Jesus, but not knowing him. And I want to encourage you, we are going into Alpha over the next few weeks, and the next 9 weeks are going to be just us asking questions as to what it means to really follow Jesus. And we're not perfect, we're real, we're authentic, and we want to answer your questions the best that we can. But I'm not promising that we're going to have all the answers to your questions, but I do know that we are going to be inviting. We're going to be people that really have a desire to help you in whatever way that you need. And we're people that love Jesus, and we're people that want to get to know him better, but we're not perfect. And just to conclude, we are people that are practicing what it means to follow Jesus. And I don't want at the end of the day for me, and I don't want it to be said about me, that I'm a person that speaks really, really well, but never did anything, that never showed love to people, never had any evidence in my life that gave way to the fact that, oh yeah, that person is a follower of Jesus. That person gets what it means to know God. And I want to challenge you to really take a hard look at your life and maybe ask the question of, am I holding on to different parts of my life that maybe I took pride in and I didn't really have a teachable spirit with because of the way that I was brought up, or the way that I perceive myself as better than that person, or whatever. There are so many things that can hold us back to asking questions. And I just want to take you back and say, hey, we all need to ask questions so that we can continue to grow. And it's the same in life. It's the same in our relationship with God. It's the same in anything. We need to continue to grow. We need to continue to learn. And so we're starting Alpha. We're continuing to go into that. And I want to encourage you to build relationships with the people around you and start asking those questions. We have leaders in Crossfire that are more than willing to answer those questions in our Zoom meetings that we're doing Tuesday tonight at 8 p.m. and then Thursday at 8 p.m. as well. And so if you're interested in doing or being a part of that, feel free to bring your questions. because, again, we don't have it perfect, but we'd love to answer them. Hope you guys have a great week, and I know that God is going to do some amazing things in and through Alpha, and I would love for you to invite. I would love for you to pray about people that maybe you should invite to this, and we are going to start our first video next week. And so, love you guys. Hope you guys are having a great time during this COVID-19 time, and I hope and pray that we continue to grow stronger into who God has called us to be. Have a great week.
Mark. Okay, you rolling? Okay, we're gonna scare Jason with this spider. Come on, we're gonna get him back. Watch it! Guys, this is a film set. You gotta. Oh! Fire!
Tons of things happen in our lives every day. And in a 24-hour period, we ask ourselves so many different questions, like, what should I eat? What should I wear? Or who should I hang out with? Sometimes we ask bigger questions, like, what do I want to be when I grow up? Who will I marry? Or where will I live? But every once in a while, we ask ourselves those even bigger questions. Questions like, why am I here? What's my purpose? And is there more to life than this? The reality is, there aren't a lot of places we can go to explore life's biggest questions. So on Alpha, we want to create a space where we can talk about those kind of questions in a way that's open and honest.
In each one of our hearts, it's like we have a happiness bucket that we're constantly trying to fill. It can sound like this. If I just had more money or nicer clothes or a new girlfriend, then I'd be happy.
The nights would come and the girls would be gone. Like, there'd be just me and I guess God, right? And I'm like, okay, there's definitely more to life than this. Like, I want, and you don't get anything.
There's this deeper, even spiritual hunger that we're all trying to satisfy.
As someone who grew up in an atheistic home, I wasn't just going to accept what he was going to say. So I was like, okay, did this actually happen historically? What's the evidence? I'm not going to just buy into something because I get swept up in the emotion of it.
You have approximately 570,000 hours left to live, and we want to invite you to spend less than 24 of them with us on Alpha.